Today I'm here with the author of 1984, George Orwell, and I will be interviewing him on questions that many of the readers of the book had. How are you?
I'm stressed out. This book was very difficult. I could have gotten more sleep and I'm sweating profusely, but how are you?
I'm okay. Thank you for asking. So, George, how did you come up with the idea of the book?
I honestly predicted what I thought could possibly happen in a futuristic society that would soon occur.
Did the idea of the events that you included in the book concern you about what could possibly happen in the future?
It did concern me considering that the world could turn into just such an evil, controlling place with absolutely no way out, but I believe it is inevitable.
Can we go into some examples of how crazy this world you wrote is?
Of course. What should we start with?
So let's start with the main character, Winston. So Winston being the main character, we see a lot of his point of view. This has created quite a biased opinion throughout the book. We see how he is thinking and how he believes others should be thinking, but we don't see how others act and how others personally feel about some topics.
A good example of what you're describing, I would say, is during the 2-minute hate scene at the beginning of the book, Winston is having his challenging thoughts towards the party, and we see how he believes others are thinking about him. This introduces two characters he believes in him, like O'Brien and Julia.
So Winston being the main character, we see a lot of his point of view. This has created quite a biased opinion throughout the book. We see how he is thinking and how he believes others are thinking, but we do not see how others are thinking during most of the book.
A good example of what you are describing, I would say, is during the 2-minute hate scene at the beginning of the book. Winston is having his challenging thoughts towards the party, and we see how he believes others are thinking around him. This introduces two characters he believes are like him, O'Brien and Julia.
Action. So, who are the thought police?
They are a police force that have the ability to read minds of the citizens. This inflicts fear into the public about having opposing thoughts towards Big Brother. We can see an example of the fear they put into even Winston when he begins to have these thoughts. He is so afraid he puts thoughts on paper in hopes of writing them for his mind. Even though he knows this is dangerous, he does it in hopes of saving himself from the thought police.
Action, action. That's what it says. So hearing how the party manipulates the minds of the people has me thinking, how do they have the ability to do this?
The party during the entire book is trying to manipulate and control every one of their citizens. They do this in many different ways. They use many different scare tactics, some of which are the thought police, and creating a fear of freedom and Goldstein's ideology.
Who are the thought police?
They're a police force that have the ability to read minds of the citizens. This inflicts fear into the public about having opposing thoughts towards Big Brother. We can see an example of fear they put into even Winston when he begins to have these thoughts. He is so afraid that he puts his thoughts on paper in hopes of writing them in his mind. Even though he knows this is dangerous, he does it in hopes of saving himself from the thought police.
Hearing how the party manipulates the minds of the people, it got me thinking, how can they do that? How is it possible?
They use Newspeak, a language that was created to limit thought. They used to basically confuse their citizens. Because they are confused by the concept of Newspeak, they become easier to manipulate.
Action. This all seems really, truly awful. How are they even able to monitor their rules and regulations?
Well, you see, they have telescreens, thought police, and just fear tactics.
The telescreens in the book act as spies to keep everyone in Oceania in line. Big Brother hopes that instilling fear into the people will make them be scared to rebel and fight back.
The reason I decided to include the telescreens in 1984 was to show the true fear that the citizens had. Since the telescreens watch the people's every single movement, it makes it very hard for them to act out. By using this strategy to fear, it assures Big Brother that the citizens won't act out of line and get vaporized.
Well, the world of 1984 sounds truly terrifying. Sorry, but I hope your predictions are wrong.
I'm only trying to warm America, and maybe the world. Who knows?